Welcome back, guys, to another video with Handyman and High Carb Hannah talking about the house.
You sound so excited.
We got a terrible sleep last night, so we're both feeling a little bit groggy, but I built a complete 3D model to scale of the house. I didn't build the model so that I could really model what's going on inside. The point of this is to kind of show not only to myself but any contractors, and especially to Hannah, what we're planning on doing on the outside here, just so that we're basically on the same page. So to make a model like this, I might do another video just kind of showing the materials and stuff that I used, but I basically just cut out our prints and I traced basically the roof design out and the floor and just made it to scale, so that we can plan out a lot of the integrated systems that kind of goes into a house like this that is not your standard house. Obviously homes in like a development or a suburb, they just kind of plop it down there and they don't really think about some really important factors in making it a lot more energy efficient. For example, like the orientation of the house is really important in terms of the long wall and whether it's pointing north, south, east, west, etc., etc. So if you want to see what is going on in the interior of the video, I will leave a link to that video up in the cards and also in the description box below. But we're going to pull the camera off here and kind of show you guys a little bit more in detail about what's going on. So if you guys watch any videos about how Earth ships work, basically the south-facing wall here in the northern hemisphere is going to be the wall that is going to get the most amount of sunlight during the winter time. So we want the south-facing wall to have as much solar gain during the winter time as possible and the least amount of solar gain during the summertime. So with Hannah pointing, coming from, she's on the west side, so she's pointing to the east side. The sun in the summertime is going to be rising in this area right here, and then as it goes up through the sky, at its highest point, it's going to be right above the house. It doesn't go too far past, I guess, what would be perpendicular or 90 degree to the ground. So a lot of the solar gain that's going to be happening with the house is just going to be coming directly through the roof, and it's not going to be coming through the windows across the front face of the building here. So during the winter time, the sun will be rising in this area right here. So the front face of the building is going to be getting a lot of the solar gain, but the sun is also going to be much lower in the sky. So we're going to get solar gain through those windows, which is something that we definitely want, especially since it's going to be anywhere between 30 degrees to 60 degrees. And obviously we want the temperature inside the house to be somewhere in the 70s. So the west side of the building here, I explained in the last video saying that there's no windows. We may end up putting one in the bathroom up here, but we're going to be growing trees on the west side of the building here that are going to provide extra shade to this side of the building. This is going to be the hottest portion of the home, especially in the summertime, as a hot afternoon sun is going to be beating down on this side of the building here. And just some general notes here, we're going to have 2 points of gray water. So we're going to have one on the east side of the building and then one on the west side of the building. So these trees are just going to be predominantly watered by the 2 bathrooms. So the sink water and the shower water on the west side will water these 3 trees here, and we can choose any type of tree really that we want. Primarily we want to do something that is obviously fruit bearing but is also going to be a shade tree as well. So one really important thing about doing a model like this is that you can really lay out what is going to be going on underground. So that's what I use the yarn here for, and everything is color coded. So all the blue lines here are going to be water lines. So this is going to be Hannah's garden area, and she's going to talk a little bit about that. The gray is going to be electrical lines, and the yellow is going to be low voltage. We're also going to have some gates throughout the backyard as well. So we'll have a main gate right here for access with the tractor. So I know I'm going to have some type of automatic door or sliding door or something like that for access for the tractor to get into this garden area here. And we'll have another entry point right here to get into the backyard.
Like Derek said, this is going to be a garden area, so this will just be like our seasonal garden area for spring, summer, fall, and then winter, because we can grow a lot of things during the winter as long as we plan properly. And then these trees are probably going to be some type of a bigger, fast-growing tree, most likely mulberry, or I probably wouldn't put any figs here. We'd probably put more figs like around the pool just because they look really nice. But more of like a not low water, but like medium water fruit tree, maybe some apples or something like that that's deciduous, because we want it to be really full in the summertime so that it provides shade for these raised beds. And then we're probably going to end up putting some type of, maybe not like a total enclosure, because our backyard fence is gonna provide a lot of that from animals getting in and stuff, but some type of a system where maybe like the poly, what are those things called?
It'll probably be a metal frame, but yeah.
Some type of a framing so that we can put shade cloth over it in the summer. But I found just through gardening the last few years that if we plan properly and have the right things planted in the summer, it does kind of flourish. Like if we have sweet potatoes and squash and things that really thrive in the heat, peppers and tomatoes and things like that, then you don't really need tons of shade cloth or anything. But we're also gonna have more trees. It's not just gonna be these. Like we don't really know exactly how much space is going to be around this. Like there might be room for other trees. Like I want to put some pine trees in the backyard because they grow really well out here and they'll provide more shade as well. So moving on from there, this is going to be our patio area, which obviously just comes off right from the house, and we have it on the east side of the building because we want to have nice shade in the summer and things like that. We're also going to have blinds that come down that are shaded and that are remote controlled, so we can just press a button and have blinds come down around the whole thing, because it's really nice because sometimes it gets really windy here, and then there's also lots of bees and flies and stuff like that during different seasons. So if we want to sit outside and play cards or sit outside and just chill on a nice evening, it'll be nice to have little screens that come down. And then we did kind of a tiered system, so you'll walk down, there will be the pool area, which we're gonna have concrete around here, and then probably a bunch more trees or something to fill in this area. It would be more probably native trees that don't require a lot of water, like mesquites and palo verdes and things like that. And then down here we're going to have a really nice built-in concrete fireplace, because we want to do as much concrete and things ourselves as we can. We actually found, maybe Derek can throw up some photos, but we found this, like some really cool plans for concrete fireplace and also concrete, what are they called? Couches that you can build yourself. Basically you just make forms and then build them out of concrete, and it's like a totally built-in couch fireplace system. So we'll probably have more cactuses. Like we're gonna have a lot of plants around here, so, and it will take us time to fill it in. But I think this area over here as well might be some more trees, or I might just dig a huge area out here for potatoes to have just like a hay-based potato growing area. If you guys have ever seen how potatoes grow in hay, it's really simple and easy. And then I've kind of convinced Derek to let me rescue chickens, but we'll see about that. It's kind of the only rescue animal that we can have. So in the future we might have a chicken coop back here for rescued chickens, but we're not totally sure yet. And then yeah, it will just get filled in over time with trees and lots of different vines, and we're gonna have all kinds of food growing in here, so it's gonna be really awesome. The other thing with having this model and why it's so great is because it's nice to know where we're gonna be putting trees in the future. Not specifically the native trees, because they don't really need a full watering system, but for any of these fruit trees, or if we want to plant trees on this side, having our gray water systems come out and be integrated into the system so that it makes sense when we plant trees, that makes it really helpful. Because the thing that's nice about these trees over here and any other gray water system here, right, is that we can plant trees that require a lot of water. Because even with our watering system outside of our tiny house, we could probably grow a nut tree. And for like anybody that knows about fruit bearing trees, nuts like pistachios, almonds, those types of trees take a lot of water. But if you have a gray water system set up, you're just using, you're reusing water that you've already used, and you can grow really nice trees with it. So it's nice that Derek built this model.
Just some other quick things to note. like this isn't like an exact model. Like this fence is not going to be 6 feet tall of like concrete. It's probably going to be 3 feet with some steel mesh over top. It's just a rough model to give us an idea or a lay of the land here. So when I show you guys basically the pad that I've created, the tiered system will make a lot more sense, and a lot of it just came down to because we didn't end up buying dirt and I used dirt on our property, that doing a tiered system like this made it a lot easier to actually get the site prep area for the house done. So this will be another Aquamate water tank. This will be a 12,000 gallon water tank. We'll definitely be collecting water off of the roof here, and we really love those curved roofs just so that we get some extra airflow in on the ends there. It just curved up when I painted it. But yeah, we'll definitely be catching water off of this, and then we can either move this water up to the 28,000 gallon tank, but you'll also just be able to gravity feed water out of it. So that's why I have some of these water lines here, and you'll be able to basically just, you know, either water these gardens here or water the trees straight from that water tank without needing a pump or anything like that. But it's just a really good idea to have something like this in mind. I got the idea from when we're on our rainwater harvesting tour to do a model like this, so that we can really start to plan out where everything's gonna go. So then I know where certain utilities need to pop out of the building. I know that if I'm trenching something, that I can get everything in the trench before I close it up, and then I don't forget anything and then have to reopen the trench and try to do things twice. So just to kind of give you guys a little bit of orientation in terms of where this is positioned. So this is the entryway into the house right here, and then right in front of it is going to be those 4 trees that we cleared off within the first video. So that's kind of like a basic overview of the landscape. Obviously a lot of thought has gone into this. Like, one of the books that I primarily learned from to do something like this and try to integrate all the systems are Brad Lancaster's books, which I've mentioned a number of times on this channel. So definitely check out those books, because it'll give you a much better idea of how you can create an integrated system like this, as opposed to just like plopping down a house and not thinking about the important aspects like the orientation, the gray water system, and all those different systems that are kind of integrated into the home. Awesome guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll have another video up this next week showing the site prep area. We'll have our footers going in next week, and then we're really going to start with the house build. And